Today we have a story of a crazy entitled parent who keeps asking for help while continuing to insult someone. We'll get into that in a bit, but first, an uncomfortable conversation with my father. Pre-context, I'm an 18-year-old trans girl, and I'm living in a full house with my father, uncle, aunt, uncle's wife, and 2 cousins. I recently got in an argument with my uncle, who I don't have the best relationship with, over him being overly pushy about my chores. It wasn't a fact of me not doing them, more so that I wasn't doing them when he thought they should be done. I was separately briefly confronted by my father about me getting closer to hormones, which he outwardly said to me he does not approve of. I just had a long conversation with my father that basically ended on 3 key notes. That if I'm not constantly doing chores to prove that I care for my family, I have no reason to live with them, that my instinct should be similar to theirs, my uncle, separate aunt, and father's, when they were younger and threatened with punishment when things in their home were not completely clean, the instinct being to just do things without any prompting because that's how the real world works and it'll be what bosses at jobs look for. That once my father sees that I'm about to go on estrogen in his insurance bill, which I'm under, he will cut me off without any hesitation. He even mockingly said, "Welcome to the real world," and describes the fact that I'll have to do this on my own, being a prime example of how my dependency on my father or family will not help me once I'm out by myself. Even though I already predicted this would happen, and I wasn't even too upset because he's already been actively unsupportive of me at every point deliberately, that he believes everyone on Earth is given a purpose, and that his is to nudge people into the right direction, not helping himself in any way. He included that detail. He said this because he says he'll never understand why I want to transition since he was fine with tools he was dealt, so he believes I should too. I tried doing my best to explain to him why I go through everything, even if he continues to throw curveballs at me, but he just seems to believe I should keel over and accept how everyone views me, rather than reach happiness in myself. I even tried to point out the hypocrisy of that, and he still deflected it, simply saying, No, you don't seem to get it." That all said, I think I've effectively lost all respect for my father, and now I believe I'm in for the bleakest month until I start college by the end of September. Well, although this understandably hurts and sucks, maybe a way to reframe this, at least maybe once you're removed from the immediacy of the situation, is it's not like he was silently going along with everything while still having these kinds of opinions. Essentially, yes, what he's doing hurts, but at least he's just kind of being straight up blatant about it and forcing you to deal with it, rather than having some kind of reserved hesitation that would maybe hurt even more because it would take so long to get to that point where those feelings are out there. OKSand4207 commented, "As a father of a 20-year-old, when I put in for reimbursement for stuff on the insurance site, I need my kids to send me the receipt. I can't see anything unless they bill me. The pharmacy needed to give them the okay to print out a list of meds to get reimbursed for through insurance. But your insurance may not be as protective. He may be able to see that a pharmacy was used. May want to work with your care provider and possibly school support system /LGBTQIA+/local Rainbow Alliance on your best options. That sucks and I'm sorry." Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy crazy stories of entitled parents, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our next story is, "My family is FUBAR beyond comprehension," and it all goes back to my sister. My sister is the cliche of the spoiled rich Beverly Hills, just not in Beverly Hills. What she wants, she gets, and she will do whatever she has to do to get it without having to work for it. She has made it clear to me that she is the chosen one and I'm nothing. My mentality through this is I don't care and let her deal with the issues that our parents have. I'm good with my life. I have my degree and career. I'm good. I have had prior conversations with my mom regarding this, and she seemed to maybe take into consideration what I was saying and was maybe starting to work to try and fix some of the issues that my sister had. When it comes to my parents, really my family, I don't actively seek any of them out. I talk to my parents once a month if I'm lucky. I let them call, and usually it's one parent who will relay any necessary information back to the other. We also live almost 3 hours from each other, so that's another reason why we don't talk. Apparently, the issues that my parents have created with my sister have gone one step further and are worse than they could ever be. Bad enough for my mother to drive 3 hours to visit me. Imagine my surprise to open the door to my house and see my mom on the other side. Into the conversation, she told me that she had heard what I said about my sister being useless and she was trying to slowly fix the problem. And she thought she was making headway until she found out her husband bought her a condo and was covering all her expenses. I asked her why this mattered to me. I reminded her that I was just an issue that had to be dealt with, her and my dad's words that explained me and my existence. I reminded her that there was nothing that I could do to help them or fix the problem they created. For the first time in my life, my mom acknowledged this and acknowledged the way I was treated. While she didn't really apologize, she did say that I was treated pretty badly. She told me she was telling me this because it needed to get out in the open somewhere. I had to ask my mom some really hard questions, mostly because I was trying in my own way to understand some of this. My parents' marriage for the last few years has mostly been roommates. Divorce for them is out of the question because of how complicated their finances and estate is. If they were to divorce, it would be friendly. They really don't love each other like they should. They love each other as friends, but marriage love is gone. With that being said, I asked my mom the question, "Have you or dad been sleeping around?" She immediately responded that she was not, and she truly felt that dad wasn't. I asked her if sister had something that she was holding over dad's head. She asked, "What could that be?" I asked her if maybe dad and her were having some kind of unhealthy relationship and she was blackmailing dad to get what she wants or she would go public. I told her that up to this point, she has had the normal spoiled kid things. Car, credit cards, vacation, and trips, all of which she, mom, were also in on. This purchase was more than any spoiled child could ever in their life have. I reminded her that when I was 18, I was told that I was on my own and had to figure out life. That my sister at 25 still has no idea how to be an adult. And it makes me wonder what they're not telling me or what secrets they're keeping for my sister to have this much power over them. Again, my mom said that in her hearts of hearts that this isn't the case, that they just messed up pretty bad. If this were an Am I the Jerk Here post, this is where I would be the jerk. I asked my mom what she expected me to do about this. What did she think she was going to gain by telling me all this and what she thinks I can do about it? She told me that she knows I can't do anything about it. She acknowledged that there isn't anything that I can do about this, that again, she needs to just get this out in the open. I asked her if she confronted dad on these, and she said that his excuse was that he was trying to help her get out of the house and that this was the only way he felt he could. He said that retirement for the both of them is on the horizon and that they would make the money back once they liquidated and downsized. I told her that from their standpoint, it would make sense. But dad forgot one main big issue, which is that she can't maintain herself. Mom said that this was an issue that she was trying to work with my sister about. She sat my sister down and told her that she needs to work at figuring out her future and was trying to encourage her to get her real estate license and go into the family business. By this point, I'm ticked, and I don't even know why. I told my mom that I don't want to know anything and that I just want to be done with this whole conversation. I told my mom that it makes no sense for her to tell me any of this. I offered to let her sleep in one of my guest rooms. She said that was okay, but she had reservations for a hotel. She left, and I went to bed angry. This morning, I had my aha moment. I can't do anything about it, and there is nothing I want to do about it. This literally doesn't even concern me. All I can do is let it go in one ear and out the other. I have nothing to offer, and even if I did, I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't. I'm not here for sympathy or advice. Comment if you would like. I guess just like my mom, I need to get this out in the open so it doesn't have to sit with me anymore. Well, if OP's doing like their mom was, or their mom was doing as OP was, maybe OP did all that they had to do already, and even then OP didn't have to do it. But like she said, she just had to get it out in the open. I mean, realistically, she seems to have just driven the 3 hours to OP just because it seems like they don't have anyone else to just talk at. I don't know if you can even say that OP's mom was visiting them just to visit her son, or if it was more so a 3-hour drive to acquire some free one-sided therapy talking. In that case, she should just adopt a cat and start talking to it. OK Promise 9373 commented, "I know that you aren't here for the sympathy, but I just wanted to say that I'm sorry that you are going through this. Hope everything turns out well, just sending my support." OP responded saying, "Thank you. Like I said, I came to the realization that it's not my problem. My parents created this and they need to fix it. I just needed to get this out in the open so I can not worry about it anymore. It kept me awake last night. I literally felt like they were going to ask me for money even though it would never happen. They know I can't help. I make good money as a nurse, but I don't make near enough to help them or my sister. They know this, but it still made me feel like my mom wanted something from me. This next story is, how dare we force her to drown her kids? I work a part-time at a sports center that has a pool. This mother walks up and buys tickets for herself and her 3 kids. She then asks for the swimming aids the kids had forgotten some days earlier. I go and check it out, find the exact swimming aids, and bring them to the counter. They have a tag that says, Mrs. Miller. All names are not real. Since we can only give objects back if the person can identify themselves, I ask for her ID. On her ID, the name is Mrs. Keller, so I ask her who she is. She says that she's a friend of Mrs. Miller and that Mrs. Miller gave her permission to pick them up and use them. I politely explain to her that we need some confirmation by her friend that they are okay to give her the swimming aids. We can't just hand them out to somebody without proof that the owner is okay with it. The mother, previously calm, suddenly switches into yelling. She demands to immediately speak to my manager. I try to handle it by myself first by once more politely explaining that it is for legal reasons. If she can maybe call her friend and the friend can confirm with me on the phone that I can give them to her, but she gets more upset and calls my request ridiculous. So I ask my boss to come. When my boss arrived, the mother is in tears. My boss asks her what happened. It turns out she called some days earlier and asked if her friend's swimming aids had been found. When my colleague asked for the name of the owner, she gave her friend's name. My colleague then said that they can be picked up with an ID at the entrance, thinking that the caller was the owner and that it would be clear that the owner can pick them up with ID. The mom proceeds to sob and ask us how we would feel if one of her kids drowned because we forced her to go swimming without swimming aids by not handing them out. In the end, she was able to call her friend, and the friend could confirm that we can give her the stuff. So I'm kind of confused as to why if she calls her friend and she confirms, oh yeah, that's me, they can pick them up, that it would be okay. Like, did they confirm the phone numbers are the same as maybe one you have on record? Because I literally don't understand how you go from, no, you need an actual matching ID to take these items, to, you know what, just call her up and if she says yes on the phone, we'll let you have them. Like, where's the security consistency here? Techie guy James quoted, the mom proceeds to sob and asks us how we would feel if one of her kids drowned because we forced her to go swimming without swimming aids by not handing them out. They said, no one is being forced. They do or don't. Glad you found her kids' things. Our next story is, I hate everything about my culture. I'm an 18-year-old girl born to an African family, and to be quite frank, I hate it. No, I do not hate our hair, our music, our art. I hate the traditions. I've grown up in an extremely dysfunctional family all my life. Constant arguments, yelling, screaming, fighting, insults being thrown left and center, constant feeling of being controlled, not given a voice, unreasonable demands and behavior, you know, all that kind of stuff. Dare I even say verbal and emotional abuse. Over the years, I've struggled more and more living in this family, and I've had 2 failed attempts because of how much I struggled with living in it. The main problem is my dad. I have no words to even describe him, and if I was to sit down and write on pen and paper everything he's done, I'd be here for years. He's ruined my life, actually. At the moment, I'm actually struggling to figure out my future, as I lived out the future he wanted for himself, which ultimately I failed in because it was never anything I wanted, so I'm stuck right now, but I won't get too much into that. My dad is someone who will mess with your mind, ignore you for days, tell you to go to heck, scream at you, argue such crazy points you don't even know how to respond back. He's extremely controlling and will change and twist things to whatever he wants. He's also hypocritical, as he'll do the same things he wants no one else to do. He'll make threats and has admitted to saying things to people he loves just to hurt them. See, he will do all this, but then victimize himself saying, I want him to be the bad guy. He never takes accountability or changes. When I said I felt like I had anxiety, he told me, no one's SA'd you for you to feel that way. When I tried to end it, he told me I was weak. Screw him. He wants me trapped in this house and uses my sisters, who I've cared for since 7, against me whenever I even mention wanting to leave the house. His goal is to make people as miserable as he is. My mom, who acknowledges all this behavior and is equally as hurt by my dad as I am, if not worse, will come to me agreeing but defend him in an argument. She ignores things and just watches him, sometimes even reinforcing his behavior. She does not have my back like she says she does. It's like she's his servant, constantly obeying him. As a woman, I can sympathize with her and her relationship with my dad, but as her daughter, she has failed me as a mother truly. How can she stay with a man that has done such cruel things to her and this family? We don't even act like a normal family, and everyone around us knows it. What does being African have to do with this? Well, I don't have a direct answer actually, but what I know is that this stupid idea that adults deserve respect no matter how they treat you has made me a coward who struggles to stick up for themselves. This stupid idea that you can't go out even at 18 has made my friendships with people extremely difficult. This idea that it's shameful for women to be divorced has left my family depressed, and the list goes on and on and on. This isn't just my life either. This is unfortunately the life of many African children I hear. And if this is what being African is about, then call me a nasty word all you freaking want. I hate it. I hate this life, man. I am so mentally destroyed, genuinely. Whenever I hear stories like this, I just have to take a moment after reading it to just pause and just kind of reflect. Stories of these people who live in these situations where the culture or the expectations are not even expectations, but what you can even do is so restricted because of your identity, your gender in places. Most of the time hearing stories like this, the fun part is trying to spitball what would you do or what's the advice you would give. But then situations like this come along and it's like, what do you say? What would you do? In most of these situations you end up saying, well, I hope they can get out of there and be more independent. But it's like, what really is the path to that? Feels like there's definitely some serious fighting for yourself ahead. Sultan of Snark commented, "This sounds rough. The world is full of people who have overcome immense hardships. You aren't alone, and you can build a better life for yourself. It may take time, but you need a plan. In most countries, you aren't a girl, you're an adult with legal autonomy. Having a plan will give you confidence, and you'll be able to see that you can define your own future. Can you get a job and secretly save money? Do you have any friends or relatives you could go for help? You have access to the internet, so you have amazing resources. It's not easy to just leave, and it may be difficult to take the steps necessary to free yourself from your situation. But you've taken the first step towards the life you want. Keep moving forward. Sending hugs and best wishes." Frustrated T-Rex added, "This is really good advice. If I can add to it, it's been my experience that people who do things like your dad, such as belittling them and pushing them into doing jobs or schooling that the person doesn't want, are failures themselves. They are total failures, and as such, they want to make everyone around them feel as worthless as they do. That's likely why he tries to turn around and act like a hypocrite. He can't stand himself, and so he'll do anything he can to tear those around him down. People like your dad are pathetic. The only way they feel powerful is by lording over you, your sisters, and your mom. He'll desperately cling to tradition, cultural beliefs, religious dogma, really anything that tells him he's allowed to behave this way. But it's not right and it's not fair. You shouldn't be terrorized in your home, in your family, because he's a big fat loser. I'm also sorry that your mom doesn't have your back either. It very much sounds like she's been beaten down emotionally and mentally by him for so long that she has no spine anymore. That doesn't make what she does okay though. Don't let them hold your siblings over your head like a guillotine. You can take your life back. I don't know your specific country, but I'd try looking into whatever social or community services are there that can help get them and you away. If you have family that you trust and can help, great. I'd even consider discreetly recording your dad when he goes off as evidence. Compile whatever you can. If possible, get a post office box, then a separate bank account. Start putting whatever money you can away. Have any documents sent to the P.O. box. If you can't get the P.O. box, maybe use the address of someone you can trust. To handle your dad, well, there's a tried and true method that may help. Look into a method called gray rocking. It's used a lot when dealing with people like him and may help. Lastly, whenever I had to deal with the yelling, screaming tantrums my mother had, there were a few quotes I would repeat silently to myself in my head, like a mantra. It's cheesy as heck and may not be your thing, but just in case, I'm gonna put them here in the hope that they'll help you as well. All the hugs in the world. Our next story is, Mom wants me to help her while insulting me. I was just hoping for some advice on this. So I'm 21, a college student living at home and not paying rent. I do not have a job. My mom in her 50s, first and foremost, is disabled. She is heavily obese and has a lot of health problems and physical pain that causes movement to be hard for her some days. Some days are worse than others. The point of making this post on the sub is that my mom, as I grew up, often insulted me. When she's gotten mad, she's called me many names and curse words. This has happened at least since I was 10. I remember 2 big fights in the past 3 years, where in the first one she felt like I didn't help her out enough with her disability and she called me worthless, said that I was ungrateful, and threw things at my closed bedroom door from the adjacent room, where eventually she accidentally hit a picture frame besides my door and broke the glass. The next fight was much more recent, only being last year, when I didn't take her advice of taking a fanny pack on a plane I was going on. She called me a bench, a stupid bench, a know-it-all and such. She physically, despite her pain, I guess, blocked my way out of the room when I tried to leave and slammed open my door multiple times when I eventually made it back to my room. It eventually escalated to my dad defending me and they argued with each other. That led to her telling my dad and her would get a divorce because of me and that I would be happy, wouldn't you? However, despite all of this, she had gotten better the last year. She hadn't insulted me at all, hadn't gotten mad to that degree anymore. Our relationship improved. I even sought her out for comfort when I was having a depressed episode the other week. But as I originally mentioned, I don't have a job, as I've been struggling to find one. I've been actively applying for months, and the farthest I've gotten were some interviews, but I haven't been successful. It's been really demoralizing, so a couple days ago, I overheard her telling her friend that I was not trying hard enough to get a job, and that if I wanted to be treated like an adult, I should get a job like a normal adult. Her saying that just brought everything back, so I've been avoiding her as much as I can while living in the same house as I try to deal with the feelings it gave me. The problem is, she's noticed as she often comes to me for help with chores and household stuff like making dinner or cleaning up. She's getting more mad at me because of me avoiding her, and my dad this time agrees with her that I should be helping her more on account of her disability. That she loves me, and just because I'm ticked off doesn't mean I shouldn't help out. But I don't understand why I should help her when she says these things about me. Then also, I don't know what to do as I can't just move out on the spot. I don't have a job and I've had a lot of trouble finding one. The only good thing is that my dad refuses to make me pay rent while my mom wants me to. I don't know what to do and I don't know why I should help her, and I just don't know how much I can take living with her if she starts insulting me again. I'm scared of it and I would like any advice that might help my situation if that's okay. Thank you for reading. It's definitely easier said than done. Words hurt, but I do think that I would just try to withstand it. Understand that although she is saying these things, you are getting free accommodation. I would try to stick it out, do the minimum that allows you to get by, and just keep pounding in those job applications and praying you can find something that will start giving you that leg up to move out. Bookworm Trisha commented, "Tell your parents in writing if you have a hard time saying hard stuff in person, that her insulting you and saying you're not trying makes you not want to help her. Because you are trying and you do help out and do not deserve having things thrown at you. Your father may not know this." This next story is, I don't know you anymore. Hi all, I, 23-year-old female, have been dealing with living at home for the past 2 years and it's been insufferable. I know I need to move out. I know I need a better paying job, but I've had 3 failed full-time jobs due to my poor mental and physical health. While living at home, I've tried my best to form a relationship with my mom, and we're okay during the summer, but the fall and winter gets extremely tenuous. She consistently complains that she doesn't know me anymore, that I shut her out of my life as a teenager, didn't know I dealt with depression, anxiety, and panic attacks till later in life, and that I make no effort to allow her to get to know me. It's all true, but why does it bother me so much when she says that? I literally just told her tonight that even if she did know the real me, she wouldn't like it. She's an evangelical first, conservative second, and I've grown into being the complete antithesis. And her response was that she's allowed to have opinions too. I just want to understand why this bothers me. So I can't personally speak for OP, but it would bother me too, just in the sense that it would almost to me feel like she's wanting me to bear who I am to her so she could have more material to judge me on. Personally, I think because OP knows that their mom is so different ideologically from them that realistically doing anything like the mom's petitioning for is just gonna be drama, stress, a bad time. I mean, maintaining what you have now as far as a relationship between you and your mom probably feels a lot safer than bearing yourself to her. Bad Palm commented, "It bothers you because as a parent, it was her job to get to know you and fix the depression and anxiety, or at least address them. You were a child learning how life works, how your body works, and how your brain processes the things happening to and around you. Your parents are supposed to be the safe place, and she clearly wasn't." This next story is, how do I tell my parents I don't need them to help me move out? I, 27-year-old female, will be moving out of my parents' house in a few weeks to another province or city. Recently, my parents, mainly my mom, has suggested that they fly over with me to the new city I'll be living in and help me bring my stuff over. However, I think the main reason my parents are coming are because of my mom and her separation anxiety. I'm her first child moving out. It's likely my mom who suggested her and my dad help me move. She's asked me many times this month why I had to move. I'm moving out due to having more job opportunities in the new city as I want to eventually leave my remote job. My dad is pretty chill with me leaving, as he understands it's time for me to live my life away from them. Funny thing is that when my mom was 25, she was working in another country away from her family. I don't really need my parents' help with moving, as I'm not bringing all of my stuff over just yet, as I'm coming back to my hometown for the holidays. I'm also moving in with a friend and her mom, and so it'll be crazy with that many people. I love my parents, but I feel like I need to navigate this move on my own. I know if they came with me on that flight that I would feel so overwhelmed with their presence and like a kid, not an adult who's starting a new chapter in her life. How should I go about telling my parents that I don't need them to help me move? From what OP wrote, it doesn't really sound like they have any beef between them and their parents. So I think it would honestly just be a good time to be slightly honest. You don't have to be full on, and just say that this is something you really need to focus on for yourself. That in a way, this is also a part of you getting a bit more of your own independence and being your own person. And not only is it not necessary for your mom or your parents to be there, it actually only stands to make things harder for both of you guys. Optimal Shake 8984 commented, "As the parent of an only child your age, I suggest that you tell them while you're appreciative of their help, it will be too hard on you with them there, and you don't want to get emotional. Another thing that works is telling them that you'll allow them to help you at the airport and getting transportation, but that's it. Set boundaries. Or you can tell them, yeah, come along, but instead of working by helping you move, stay a few days or a week and make it a vacation. Assuming this is a large city with plenty of things to do. Agree to let them take you to dinner once or twice and invite your roommate and her mom. That way they know you're okay, as are the people with whom you're living. My son allowed us to help him move in uni and law school since they're both far away, and then proceeded to tell us that the only thing he needed from us is to organize drawers and closets, because that's our thing. After that, we were free to explore, and he was free to hang out with people his own age. Good luck on your move." But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy entitled parent story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.